these tarts can be made up to 2 days in advance. Great as part of a picnic. They look great. Hi, I'm Becca and I'm one of the chefs here at the Waitrose Cookery School. And today I'm going to show you how to make some vegan roasted vegetable tarts. So we're going to start off preparing the vegetables that we need for the inside of the tarts. We're going to peel them into nice long thin strips so we can roll them up and make them look really pretty and hopefully look like a rose. I'm going to start with my carrots. So these have already been washed and peel all the way down the carrot. So I like to just go round the carrot. So I've got nice wide strips, and when you get down to the core, it's going to be too small to take strips off. So you can cut it up and use it as a snack, or you could cut it up and pop it in a soup or something like that. Now we're going to move on to the courgette. So basically the same thing here. We're just going to take strips all the way down the courgette. I like to do a couple on one side first so you get the right size strips falling into the bowl. So once you get down to the middle bit of the courgette, you start losing the green bits from the outside. You can carry on going, this is all perfectly edible, but I like to have the green strips on the outside. So again, I'm going to stop here and use this in a soup or some pasta or something, grate it up. That could be quite nice. If you want to make these tarts at home, the full recipe is in the link below. So the carrot and courgette are all done. Lastly, we need to prepare our aubergine. I find the aubergine just a little bit tricky to peel sometimes, so I'm going to use a knife for this. It's just important that you cut really nice thin strips, similar to your courgette and your carrot, so that you can roll it up at the end. I think that aubergine adds a nice colour to this dish. It gives you 3 different vegetables to layer up, and then you get a nice layer of 3 different colours that are rolled up together to make the nice roses later on. Any nice brightly coloured vegetables I think that you can roll up easily would be great for this recipe. So these tarts can be made up to 2 days in advance, and then you've got them ready and you can serve them up whenever your guests arrive. So that's our veg all ready to go. I'm just going to pour over some olive oil here, some nice sea salt, some freshly ground black pepper, and you're going to get nice tasting vegetables all the way through your tarts if you season them now. Okay, so I'm going to give this mix around just with my hands to make sure they all get coated in olive oil, salt and pepper. Do this gently though, you don't want to break up any of the ribbons that you've spent some time making there. We just want to make sure the vegetables have all got an even coating. They're feeling nice now. They look great. Next up, we're going to prepare the pastry for our tarts. So today we're using phyllo pastry, really delicate pastry, so you want to be really careful when you're handling it. So we need to cut the phyllo in half lengthways first. Then we're going to put the bottom half on top of the top half. And now we're going to cut this into 4 pieces so that we've got squares of phyllo pastry that we can build up and make little tart cases. And now we should have 40 squares of pastry, and this will be enough to build our tarts. Okay, so the great thing to do with phyllo pastry is to layer it up, and then you get like crispy layers of really, really thin pastry, and it tastes so good. To do this, you have to oil in between the layers to make it really nice and crispy. So firstly, take 1 sheet of phyllo pastry, lie it on your counter, and then brush this with the olive oil. I'm using a light olive oil today, but you could use a nice fancy olive oil if you've got one. It's just going to add more flavour into your tarts. So once you've brushed your piece of phyllo, you're going to pop a second piece of phyllo on top of that, and then a third piece of phyllo on top of that, so that you get a sort of a star shape at the end. I'm just going to use my extra oil on the brush to line the muffin tin, and we're going to press this into the tin and make sort of the fluted tops of the tarts. Be gentle here with the pastry because it can tear really easily, which you don't want to happen. Okay, so there we go. We've got all our tart cases prepared and ready to go. So now we're going to move on to making our filling, which the vegetable is going to sit on top of. For the filling, we're going to blitz up some walnuts and mix it together with some vegan cheese. I think you want a little bit of texture from them, so you've got a nice crunch in the bottom of your tart. It's kind of up to you how fine you take your walnuts or not. I've still got some bigger lumps of walnuts in here and some smaller lumps as well. So I think this is great for texture in the bottom of the tart. Okay, now we're going to mix this together with our vegan cheese. So we're using the whole tub of vegan cheese today, and we're going to mix it all in with our walnuts. So if you didn't want to make these vegan, you could use cream cheese. That would still be absolutely fine for this recipe. So So last thing I'm going to do for this filling is just season it with some salt and pepper. So we're going to line the base of our tarts now with the walnut and cheese mixture before we pop the vegetables on top. What I find handy sometimes is patting the filling down in the bowl and then just dividing it up with my spoon into quarters. And then I sort of know how much I'm going to put into each tart. Otherwise, you can get a lot in the first one and then a lot less in the last one. That's not really fair. So now I'm going to take 3 from each quarter and just drop the filling into the base of the tart. And then we're just going to go around and flatten it with our spoon so the vegetables can sit nicely on top of this. Okay, brilliant. Now we're ready to start making our vegetable roses to go on top. So I like to start with the aubergine as the base, and then I'm going to put a piece of carrot on top, and then a nice green bit of courgette. And we're just going to keep layering these up till we've got about 10 pieces of vegetables layered together. So I like to flip it over and then roll this all up. You want to keep it nice and tight. It's going to try and roll away from you, but just hold on to it. Then you can pop it into the tart case. Then once it's in there, you can tease it into the shape that you want it to be. So don't worry too much when you're rolling it up. You can fix it when it's in the tart case. And you're just going to keep going like this until you've filled all the tart cases. Okay, so that's the last spiral done. All that's left to do is to glaze them with a little bit of maple syrup before they go into the oven. And it's going to make those vegetables taste super nice and sweet and sticky. Perfect. So these are ready to go into the oven now. You might have some strips of vegetables left over. Whilst you've got the oven on, you can just pop these onto a baking tray, lay them out, and bake them at the same temperature as the tarts until they go nice and crispy, and have them for yourself as a little chef snack. Okay, so the tarts are ready to come out of the oven. Brilliant, so I'm pleased with these. They look really nice. They've held their really nice spiral shape, and I think they're going to be super tasty. I think these would be great as part of a picnic. You could even make teeny tiny versions for canapes. Let us know what you do with yours. Subscribe to the channel, and there's new recipes every single week. And thank you very much for watching.